Hello everyone. Already a week into the 5 weeks of campaigning, the 2012 national election is a headline event for any country. But in this particular election for Papua New Guinea, other unrelated events and issues have managed to grab the headlines. Unrelated though, they are international interests, and they are the decisions of the High Court, the decisions of Parliament, of Government House, of Peter O'Neill, of Sir Michael Somare. They have been quite loud. Louder has been Belden Nama, the Deputy Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea and leader of the PNG party and member for Vanimo Green. He has made no secret of his intention to become the next Prime Minister. Mr. Nama has been in the thick of just about everything since the change of government in August last year. And he is our guest on this edition of Election Focus. Sir, thank you for making time available.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins, for inviting me here for this opportunity on Election Focus.
Okay, so you've said a lot of things and you've had your reasons. You've done a lot of things and you've had your reasons too. And one of them has been quite loud, if I might add, and it's created outrage and condemnation, if you will, and that is your march into the National Court to arrest the Chief Justice. Why did you have to choose to do that? Would you have chosen another way to go and see the Chief Justice?
Thank you, Mr. John Higgins. I think that has been the question in many minds of our citizens and the people of our country, and also the international community. And I read in the papers about lawyers questioning why I took that step to going into the Chief Justice courtroom and asking him to resign. It's simple. I think it's a simple fact, is that if you look at the entire scenario since the 12th of December decision and the decision of the 21st of May this year, clearly shows that our Chief Justice of this country has been playing politics. I say this, and I'll qualify myself, is that nowhere in the world you have a Chief Justice that has a case against himself and he sits to hear his own case. This is totally unacceptable of a position of such an high ranking, especially the Chief Justice of a judiciary, which is the third arm of government. And my goal in there, Mr. Higgins, basically was to put an end to this, because the way the Chief Justice has been acting, I see him as a tyrant drunk in power.
That is perhaps a decision we arrive at. I thought you might have had that necessitated you wanting to have the Chief Justice dealt with, but the manner with which you went about it, that would seem totally out of line in a democracy. And that is the thing that's frightening everybody.
Yes, I know it will frighten everybody. But how do you see on the other side of the coin where a Chief Justice refuses when the appointing authority suspends him and he hears his own case and puts a permanent restraining order? He has access to the courts. He has access to the judges. The only fairest thing to do was for him to step aside, allow the tribunal to go ahead. But time and time again, he has continuously used his powers in the judiciary to protect himself.
Yeah. But what we're saying is that why not allow the processes and procedures to deal with it?
Very good question, Mr. Higgins. I don't think we'll get the results that we want.
If you say that, wouldn't that be seen as heavy-handed? Wouldn't that be seen as tyranny and aggressiveness on the part of a politician, I suppose, and in your case, yeah, Deputy Prime Minister?
But how do you get justice?
Procedures and processes, yes, that should have been allowed. And I think that is something that's scaring the people out there.
I think we have exhausted all the procedures and processes in terms of the courts are concerned. I know it is not right, but it had to be done. Because if I didn't do what I did, I can rest assure you that courts will usurp the powers of the Parliament, of the Executive, and of the Governor General. And that's what they have done in the decision of the 21st. of May, and then they came up with an amended court decision on the 23rd without the application by concerned parties. The courts, in their own wisdom, amended the court order, which invalidated the election of Peter O'Neill as the Prime Minister, reinstate Sumari, and Sumari is the legitimate Prime Minister until Richard returned, but he doesn't have a cabinet. O'Neill's cabinet, the cabinet appointed by O'Neill that includes myself as the Deputy Prime Minister and all other ministers, remains.
Yes.
So, if you look at it in a bigger picture, if someone in his right frame of mind look at it, and I challenge the lawyers, who in his right frame of mind will sit in his own case and hear his own case in his own court? Isn't that an obvious bias? I'm not a lawyer, but I read these things. We've exhausted all avenues. The only way for me to tell him, and I gave him 24 hours to resign. I said, the day before that, I said, you have got less than 16 hours to resign.
Yes. Could you have not allowed the police commissioner to engage his policemen to do that, and not you in person? I think that is the thing that's...
I didn't arrest him. The police arrested him. I went to the courtroom because I sensed that...
But you became Tom Kulunga here and go and arrest him.
Mr. Higgins, if we had left the situation as it is, from my intelligence, there was going to be a major confrontation.
Between who and who?
Between the renegade policemen led by an impersonated commissioner, Mr. Freddy Akasa, and that of the 7 members of the Papua New Guinea Constabulary. There was going to be a major confrontation. Who is creating it? My only answer is the Chief Justice of this country.
We'll leave this for a moment and go to the decision, I suppose, by the High Court that led to Peter O'Neill being reinstated as Prime Minister for the 3rd time. And this had happened just a couple of days ago, if you will.
Yes.
Would we have not done that, allow things and go to the elections and come back after the elections?
Very good question, Mr. Higgins. If we had left it as it is, without a head of government, you see, courts reinstated Sumari and said, Sumari, you are Prime Minister until return of Rich. Sumari doesn't have cabinet. Court recognizes and legitimizes the cabinet of Peter O'Neill, of which I am the Deputy Prime Minister. If there was a major disaster in the country, who would call the NEC? Who would call the cabinet to resolve the issue? That's the question. We must have a head of an executive who can convene the cabinet and make important decisions. If we leave it as it is, we don't have a prime minister. Sumari has been reinstated by courts, but he doesn't have a cabinet. O'Neill has been invalidated as the prime minister. He cannot call a meeting. I am the deputy prime minister. I should call a meeting, but then Sumari will question it. I am the prime minister. I didn't call the National Executive Council meeting. Peter cannot call a meeting. So we are left in a catch-21 situation.
Yes. A total dilemma that's confusing virtually everybody right now.
Exactly. Why didn't the courts just say, okay, O'Neill government, you are illegally in office. Sumari, you are reinstated, you put your cabinet in place. But then again, we look at we are in a democratic country. How can a minority run a democratically elected government?
Sure.
You see?
Majority rules in this
majority rules.
But leading to that and to the election of Mr. O'Neill as Prime Minister, and even the subsequent swearing in at Government House, there were snapshots of O'Neill not being one of the nominees to contest the position. How did that come about? Why did that come about? The position of the Prime Minister.
The position of the Prime Minister.
As per what the Speaker said.
Well, for the coalition partners, for us was to confirm Peter O'Neill as the Prime Minister, because there there's only two groups of people as far as I see it. The Somare faction and the O'Neill faction. I have a loyalty problem. When I'm loyal to a team, I'm loyal to a team. That is why when the acting speaker read to disqualify Peter O'Neill from contesting, same as they disqualified Somare,
yes.
I had a problem. So I stood up and called a dissent. Motion,
right,
put up a motion for dissent. Basically because he's a 7-member of parliament, he's equally eligible to contest as the prime minister, and we don't have any other candidate except Peter O'Neill. There couldn't be any other candidate. And that's why, for me, stability in this country is important.
Yes, yes.
There can be only one prime minister. And in the eve of the election, only 3 weeks to go before the polling, why do you want to, why does somebody who want to be the prime minister want to put his hand up?
Yes.
There's no call for that.
No, nobody would have.
Nobody would have.
You wouldn't want to have?
Never.
Okay.
I wouldn't. Like I said, I have a loyalty problem. I made him the prime minister twice. This was the third time I made him the prime minister again. And I'm proud.
Okay.
I'm proud.
Okay. But even at Government House, there was a little bit of a delay in the swearing in. Shouldn't that have been just a mere formality? Why the delay there?
Well, you see, Mr. Higgins, the procedure is this. Governor General only acts on advice from NEC and Parliament. And I personally also. And I pleaded with the acting Governor General.
Yeah. And that would have been just a mere formality?
Yeah, it's just a formality.
Why wasn't it?
It's just a formality. His question was that the Parliament was not properly recalled. Governor General didn't certify it. But when we have a look at it, we have a gazettal, which is the finality of any process of government. So when the gazettal came out and said that there was a recall of Parliament, obviously the Governor General certified the request by NEC to recall Parliament. But Roger, I just want to go back to the question of Prime Minister.
Yes.
There's one issue that I want to clarify, and lawyers are experts in this. You see, Section 19.1 reference, when courts make a decision, it should just be an advisory decision, not the declaratory orders directing that you should be dead, you should be dead. No, It should just be an advisory opinion. What the court should have done in the interest of the nation, and according to Section 19 reference, is basically say, O'Neill, your election is unconstitutional. Somare, you are back as a member of Parliament. Go back to the floor and fix it. That should have been the best thing.
The courts didn't do that.
Courts didn't do that.
They reinstated Somare.
That's right.
Okay.
They did I believe they did the first mistake on the 12th of December. They repeated the same mistake again on the 21st and 23rd of May. So you can see that the courts are not, they're biased in their ruling.
Okay. All right, Mr. Nama. We'll just leave it there. We'll come back to some of the other issues of the elections a little later on in this program. This is Election Focus. Our deputy is the Deputy Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea and leader of the PNG party, and also member for Vanimo Green. We'll be back shortly. You're back to Election Focus. Our guest tonight is the Deputy Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, Mr. Belden Nama. So we went through what the courts had done and of course, the third swearing in of Mr. O'Neill as the Prime Minister. We leave that there for the moment. And so, about yourself and the party, the PNG party, of which you assumed the leadership from Samakere Marauta. How is that party going, and how do you think you will fare in the elections?
Thank you, Mr. Higgins. Before I touch that, I just want to say this. I know a lot of Papua New Guineans are not really familiar with me and all the international community. But my history speaks for itself, Mr. Higgins. I graduated from one of the prestigious military colleges in the Southern Hemisphere, from the Royal Military College of Danthrun. I was in the Army as a young officer, served on Bougainville, and then was one of the first officers to start the Special Forces unit in the Defense Force. And then in 1997, I went to jail for my part in stopping the government from deploying mercenaries from South Africa in Bougainville. Sandline crisis. You would remember that very well.
Were you the only one that went to jail?
There were three of us. Yes. Three of us that went to jail. Bola Renagi and Linus Osaba. We served 2.5 years. I was sentenced to actually 6.5 years. But then in 2003, I was released on parole. In 2005, September 16, I was given pardon by the Queen. Mr. Higgins, I went home. I went home to my own village and started the first nationally owned logging company. And then whilst there in 2007, my people asked me if I could run for the Vanimo Green River seat, and which I did.
Yes.
And I won.
Yeah.
But when I won, I was with the National Alliance Party. I spent also my own resources to ensure that National Alliance win the election and form the next government, and which we did. I was appointed the Forest Minister until June 2010. I decided that I resign from the Somali government because I didn't like the way they were running the government, especially when the NEC, National Executive Councils, were conducted. The submissions they brought in was already, decisions were already made in the kitchen.
So cabinet was mere rubber stamp.
It was just a rubber stamp.
Okay.
It was just a rubber stamp.
But you know, you're going to jail. Your military experience, has that hardened you? Has that made you what you are today? What has that done to you?
I think it has really groomed me to be a real man, and most of the leadership qualities that I have from the way I was trained to lead men and to command troops in the battlefield.
But is politics and military, do they differ a little bit?
They might differ, but I think if we employ most of the leadership qualities that are taught in the military schools, that is why if you look at the United States of America, where majority of their presidents are ex-generals, that's why America is so powerful. And it's the most powerful one of the probably the most powerful country in the world.
It is a superpower.
So it is the superpower. Mm-hmm. So you can see that the ex-military generals, they become presidents of America. Their contribution to making America one of the if not the superpower in the world, and also they use their training to input into the politics of the country.
Yes. Vanimo Green, of which you are the member, and you'll be contesting that seat now. You say you've used a lot of resources when you were with NA to help NA members win as well as yourself. Yes. Want to put a figure on that?
Yeah, when I first started to go into politics in 2007, even before I became a member of parliament, I've spent about 5 million kina from my own funds to help National Alliance form the last government.
And you've announced that you will be giving 30 million kina to PNG party this time.
Of course. I will spend that kind of money, and I think it's a challenge that I have as a leader of a party. And today's politics, I believe, is money politics. You need to use resources for your posters, the logistics, and also sponsor the candidates for the election. And there's no secret about it.
And you're buying a fixed wing as well.
I am.
Have you bought that yet?
I think we'll be buying that next week from Everlift.
What sort of aircraft is it?
It's a King Air.
King Air.
Yeah, it's currently based up in Argan. So
how much is it costing?
It's about 2.6 million.
So 2.6 million, 30 million kina today. That's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. It is, in fact, people say wow to that. It's a lot of resources.
Yes, people can say that, but Mr. Higgins, one of the reasons that is causing me to spend this kind of money is that I believe that Papua New Guinea deserve better, and for me to achieve my dreams for my country, for my people, is for me to spend that kind of money to form the next government.
Okay, and you will be deliberately going out to choose your candidates. What sort of candidates are you looking for? Are women part of that agenda?
I've chosen candidates already. I'm sponsoring more than 75 candidates. I have myself about 25 sitting MPs, which brings me to a total of about 90 to 100 candidates for this election. So I have some women running in my party for this election. I think about two women that I'm supporting for this election.
Who are those? Which electorates?
One is in the Daulo.
In the Eastern Highlands?
In the Eastern Highlands. Yeah. And one of them we were supposed to endorse in Popondetta. Unfortunately, she didn't nominate under us. So, but we will be sponsoring one candidate up in the Eastern Islands, definitely.
Okay. Deputy Prime Minister and leader of the PNG party, member for Manimo Green. This is Election Focus. We'll be back shortly. You're back to Election Focus, news and current affairs program of interviews with political party leaders as we go into the elections. So, you are spending a lot of resources and fielding a lot of candidates in these elections. Obviously, you would like to come back as with a majority to form government, be the head of government. You'd like to become Prime Minister next.
Of course, Mr. Higgins, why would I be spending so much money of my resources in sponsoring the candidates? I have my own aspirations, and I believe this country deserves a leader like myself, who is young and vibrant, and who has a totally different type of style of leadership. And that is why I'm spending my own resources to ensuring that my party wins most of the seats and is invited by the Governor General to form the next government. Yes. But more importantly, Mr. Higgins, is the policies that we stand on. I think we have some of the best policies that we have for our country. One being Papua New Guinea is a Christian country, and every time we preach about Christianity, but we do not practice what we preach. So in our party, we have a policy that in annual budgets, we will allocate 10% of that money to the churches, and we will create the Ministry of Religious Affairs, because if you look at the country now, if you go to the remotest parts of our country, the people who are giving education and health services are actually churches.
Yes. They say there have been governments before government came.
That's right.
Churches,
that's right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that is why we have a motto, and that is we believe in joy. Joy basically means, joy in English is happiness. To gain this happiness, joy stands for three things. First, J is for Jesus. Second is joy. O is for others, means Papua New Guineans, 7.5 million people. And Y is you as a leader. Okay. So which means that you got to put Jesus first, Jesus as number one, people of Papua New Guinea second in your heart, yourself must be last. If we practice that, if leaders have practiced that in the last 37 years, we would have been much better than what we are now. We have so much resources, but we never practice joy.
Okay.
We never practice joy.
And you also have entered into some sort of a agreement with other political parties. Should you not come in with the absolute majority? One of them is PNC, the others as well.
Yes, we have. I have a very, very good working relationship with our Prime Minister. I think he's one of the best leaders in our country. I also have established a relationship with the leader of the United Resources Party, Honorable William Duma, and also with the DA Party, Honorable Don Pollier. And also I have a very good relationship with minor parties, with the likes of Sepuka Temu, Sebat Filman, and also Dr. Alan Marat. So I will be most willing and happy to work with. They're actually part of the current coalition.
Yes, yes.
And I feel they are very easy to work with. They are very open for discussion. Unlike when I was with the Somalis, you can't be heard. You know, it's like one-sided. They know everything, and like they think that your contribution means nothing. But in the current coalition, you know, our Prime Minister can listen, William can listen, Don can listen, Sepuka can listen, even Dr. Marat can listen, or even Bat.
So the decisions are collective, in other words.
That's the kind of leadership.
Okay.
That's the kind of leadership that we have we need in our country. We have to have a collective decision-making process. And in my party, I am proud that I have two vibrant deputy party leaders who have very strong leadership qualities in the likes of Honorable Jamie Maxton Graham, the Minister for Health and
Who's now contesting the new Jawaka Regional.
New Jawaka Regional. I am very confident. Yes. I am very, very confident that he's going to win this seat. Yes. And also I have Honorable Sam Basil, member for Bulolo. I am also very confident that he's going to win his seat.
So you have a Highlands deputy and a Momase deputy.
Yes.
What about the other region?
But I have only two deputies. The reason being I don't want to practice regionalism.
Okay.
I think regionalism is bad for the country. Regionalism has broken political parties, because you want regions go and gather over there. They said, "Oh, we want the party leadership. We want the prime ministership." That we should. I think it will come to a time when we will probably settle with one deputy party leader.
Yes.
One deputy party leader. So you don't have these, regional groupings. That we must discourage at all costs. We must be patriotic. We must be nationalistic in our approach to politics in the country.
Okay. Should you not have the numbers, would you be prepared to serve under Mr. O'Neill as deputy or any other who might come in that arrangement that you
obviously,
said?
Like Mr. O'Neill and I signed a pact, and that MOU or MOA basically means that if he's got the largest number, I'm happy to support him, to give him my number for him to be the Prime Minister. On the same token, if I have the number, Peter O'Neill has agreed that he will be prepared to give me the support and let me be the Prime Minister of our country.
Let me just draw you on to one. You did tell him to resign over the Indonesia, the Falcon thing. You have any regrets at saying that?
I think we've moved on.
Yeah, okay.
We've moved on.
Water under the bridge?
It's a water under the bridge. I think it was a split of a moment. It was a split of a moment, and we had just formed government. We didn't really know each other. Even though I had an earlier relationship with him outside of politics, even before we were politicians, we knew each other. But when it came to that particular issue, I was thinking that he should have spoken to me first before he went on the media about that whole issue. But I think the good thing is this, and Mr. O'Neill acknowledges, is that he has someone that he can tell him in his face than someone who goes at the back is more dangerous. It's more dangerous. And that's what I am. Yeah, okay. I say everything, I act. You get...
We've seen that.
It's what you get.
Yes.
When you see me, it's what you get from me. Okay. I don't go and backbite. Yeah. I'm not the guy that gossips. Yeah. Those are none of my business.
So if you do come back as Prime Minister Deputy, one way or the other, then it's all open politics, and that it's going to be out there. We're going to see it. It's going to be physical.
Absolutely. Okay. I think it'll be a really good contest, and I'm happy to go out there and campaign. And I've also told Mr. O'Neill that if there are electorates where his candidates are standing, I would go out and campaign and tell the people that if you are giving one to my candidate, you give two to Peter O'Neill. And if Don's manage there, you say give 3, because it's a preferential voting system. But Honorable O'Neill and I have that understanding that when we go out and campaign for our candidates, if our candidates are running in the same seat, we will campaign fairly for each other.
Okay, all right. On that note, we'll leave it there. We're running out of time, sir. This has been Election Focus, a news and current affairs production of interviews with leaders of political parties as they try to win seats in this election to form the next government. One of them is the PNG party of Papua New Guinea, which Mr. Belden Nama is the leader and Deputy Prime Minister at this point in time. So until another program next round, it's goodbye from us. So good luck.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. That was nice.